Since the dawn of time, everybody wanted to know, where do we come from? Our origins. Where do we come from? Some people say it's aliens, the Anunnaki. Scientists say it's an explosion or expansion of the Big Bang. But now we might truly find the answer. The Rosetta Comet P92 has detected organic molecules from the formation of the for the formation of the solar system and the origin of life. Maybe truly now we will find out these organic molecules can point where we came from. Some people think it's panspermia. Life originated on multiple places in the cosmos, multiple planets, galaxies, universes. We are truly lucky that the ESA has detected 10 years in the making of when that comet was going to appear, and their probe landed on it, and they gathered the organic molecule data, and now the data will be analyzed. And maybe now, since the dawn of time, we can find out what are the origins of life, of us. Where do we come from? Before your parents. The beginning of beginning. The origin of life. What I think, some people say Anunnaki, Sumerians, ancient aliens. I would say no, now. Because the intelligent life scientists has found, like us, walking and talking, it's only 10% out there. It's a very small percentage. Everything got obliterated by gamma ray bursts, supernovas. That's why on none of the planets you will find intelligent life. We have to go past our Milky Way galaxy. And the 10% are there. Like we are a huge ratio. 1 of a trillion to exist. Land on Mars, and then to the water of Earth. Genesis took form. And from the water to the land. So it's now we only know 10% of walking, talking, other species than us exists somewhere in the cosmos. So there is another species. There's not much out there, but there is another species, or more than one species, like us. There's been some uncovered information about the comet, and I don't know if to take it as true, but they said the comet, the way these other species look like us, they're another form of human, or alien human, or whatever. Now, I don't know how it all began yet. Once we get the data, we're going to find more. So this means, they said it's the Daini people, or aliens, from a place called Exton, and a planet, I don't remember exactly the information, but you can find out on YouTube. And a planet of Phalok or something. Anyways, it's not aliens like the movie, and that's why we look like us, I guess. These aliens kind of look like humans. And there's 10% out there. This means, well, this narrows the gap that there's another species out there like us that kind of looks like us. Somewhere out there. 10%. Not much, but they're out there somewhere. And this raises the questions, were we a genetic experiment? If there's only another species and we're talking about from the beginning. What do you want to, whatever you want to call it, slime. Before we are what we are now. And then abigenesis took place, and the cells divided, and we got their brains. It's possible we might have been a genetic experiment. That would solve a lot. But if we weren't a genetic experiment, this is where it gets to the tricky part, because I don't have the answer. It's unknown, right? So I can say, let's wait for the data to come back, what these organic molecules point out to be. Whether there's origins of us, origins of another species. But since there's only 10% out there, well, the funny thing is, if these aliens or other species kind of look like us, if we were created by these species, why? Well, this was an experiment. And if we weren't, well, how did we come out to being then? And these are the answers, or the questions, that we'll possibly ever find finally where we came from, their origins. And even if it doesn't relate to these 10% alien species, but microbial aliens throughout the whole cosmos, this would explain it more. See, since the dawn of time, people want to know. They made up stuff. They made up religions, obviously, superstitions. And the bad thing about the religion is a control system. They can make it so clever and so dangerous to enslave people, enslave the masses, of scaring them from fear. And no God would ever sanction and condone slavery. That's totally messed up. What kind of God would do that? So this goes to the questions of no gods or religion, no gods at all, no DS gods either, infinite regression. So gods are out of the picture. So, and all of the science, religions, it's not the true story. You want the truth, right? So let's just wait until what the data find on the organic molecules, what that points out to be. And we'll go from there. But I guess possible scenarios, perhaps for a genetic experiment. And then, we're just a species of another species. And then the whole cosmos took an effect through naturalistic means. Like it's doing all the time. Space is hell. It's the real hell you'll get. Black holes, white holes eating each other. Asteroids hurtling towards each other. Gamma ray bursts thousands of years ago. It could occur now. It's occurred in the past. Wiped out the dinosaurs. So yeah, if there's a hell, space is the realest hell you're ever going to get. You go in a black hole. It's the worst death you can imagine. Freeze and burn at the same time while you get strung apart, obliterated, evaporated, disintegrated into nothing. That's the worst death you can imagine. Not even light can escape there. Satan's scared of hell. God is scared of hell. But they don't exist. God and Satan. But yeah, the black hole is basically it was thought out that the star explodes. It's an amazing process. If you understand the whole space and thermodynamics, general relativity, gravity, the star explodes, twirls super fast into an explosion. Insane. Supernova. Gravity ray burst. Space is hostile. I would say space is even more hostile than Earth, because in space is unpredictable. You go there, comets hurling at each other, asteroids. And the comet that the probe landed on, it was huge. About as big as the United States. And if that comet hit us, that would have done some damage. So space is the realest hell you're gonna get. It's So I wouldn't be surprised if we were a genetic experiment, and then we could find out why. I mean, that's possible. Because technically, if we were, we shouldn't even exist. Period. You know, we shouldn't even exist. I know this is the harshest truth, if it is a truth, but hey, I can live with the truth, whether it's good or bad. And that's all I care about, is the truth. If we weren't, well, this is where we're going to unknown how we came to be. And this is info we don't have yet. But this data, these organic molecules, should point to that. Because the scientists said these comets are unchanged since billion years. Asteroids can change, but the formation, the comets, the texture, everything on the comet is the same it was a billion years ago. It's like we time traveled when we landed on this comet. Like I said, this is probably the biggest information of all time. Even the moon landing, but the moon landing was not even real. Believe it or not. No conspiracy here. Buzz Aldrin, he actually said the moon landing was faked. And there was a reason for it. Because of the wars and to get out of the situation, they faked the moon landing. You can look for yourself, straight from Buzz Aldrin. So, they did a really good job covering up, didn't they? Fooled everybody. For years. It's like an unsolved mystery. Like that girl, Cindy, who was gagged and stabbed and had marks all over her body. And they can never find the killer. She was her own killer, it was believed. She hurt herself. She made up the whole story with the phone ringing, the calls, the sadistic writing letters to her. That's one theory. She made it all up. And she killed herself. She hurt herself. And they said she was schizophrenic or paranoid or whatever. That murder is still unsolved. Whether it was murder or she killed herself. And it's possible that people are so deranged and fucked up in their head, they can concoct stories of a killer when them themselves are their own killer of their own selves. The world's crazy. Everybody has different brains. And maybe if we are the genetic experiment, that can explain a lot. Mutations in our cells. Abnormalities when we're born. And if this was the case, it's kind of pretty sadistic, I would say. That these species just decided to have fun and just made us a genetic experiment. But the question is, why would they do that? If that was the truth. Because playing with life, or like you're playing being God, a God controlling all, or having things random, that's not cool. Because it's like, if you're a God, you're doing things without caring. If you're a vindictive God, like in the holy books. So if these aliens, whatever, we were a genetic experience,